I won't say it again. I'm not getting married. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I thought you loved me. You know I love you, God Almighty. I tell you that every time I see you. Then why can't we get married? Damn it. Donna, we've been through this 1,000 times. You know why, I said, getting out of bed and heading for the shower, as my shift was starting in an hour. Maybe not 1,000 times, but we discussed it every few days. Ever since Donna moved in with me more than 2 years ago. She knew perfectly well why marriage was impossible for me. I am a policeman, and I see the consequences of domestic violence every day. Thinking about what just happened, I understand why other couples are trying to kill each other. The water pleasantly refreshed my face. Donna realized that she had gone too far today. Of course, I forgave her immediately. God, I would do anything for her. Well, almost everything. When Donna takes a shower with me before I go to work, I feel like a king. She helps me carefully, lathering my body with attention and care. Her hands slide confidently over my back, like those of a skilled masseuse. She crouches down to lather my feet, washing away the fatigue of the day. When she gets up, I smile at her. Then she squeezes some shampoo into her palm and gently massages my hair. Donna carefully distributes the shaving cream and deftly removes the remaining stubble from my chin. Finally, she washes off the last drops of soap, after which she wipes me with care and tenderness. No man on earth deserves the kind of total devotion she shows me every day. Oh my God, how I love this woman. I was at the police station at 22:45. It's the same every night shift, 15 minutes of preparation and the start of the patrol at 11. Tonight was no different from any other night in my 8 years of work. And I still hated the first 15 minutes of every night I was on duty. Most of the guys were enjoying themselves before starting their patrol, but I just wanted to get on with my job as soon as possible. People need our help, and we've been messing around. The other guys tell me, "You just don't have a sense of humor, Will." Well, I have it, of course. I just don't show it at work. I can tell more jokes than a stand-up comedian. But there is a time for jokes, and there is a time when seriousness is important. Ask Barton. Bart has been my partner for the last 4 years. I bet he's heard every joke I know 10 times. I tossed Bart the keys to her car. "You're driving." He knew me well enough to know from that gesture that I wasn't having the best day. I usually drove myself, and Bart rode in the front passenger seat, taking in everything that was happening around our car like a radar. "Are you okay, Will?" I just nodded at him. We went through the list of addresses, as we do every night. We got into the patrol car and drove out of the parking lot. Bart turned left. I always turned right, and tonight for the first time I noticed that everything looked somehow different. It was a feeling that started to grow when we completed the first hour of our patrol. It was hard for me to focus on my work, but my gut told me that everything was going to change. At midnight, we stopped at a burger joint to have coffee. Then we headed down South Main Street to see what was happening on the streets. A few women were standing on the corner, but they didn't bother anyone, so we moved on. While everything was quiet, I thought about my relationship with Donna. Their end was approaching, and I just didn't know when it would come. Sooner or later, Donna will want what I couldn't give her, and that will be the end of us. I felt an emptiness inside me. At 2:15, the radio startled me. David 37, challenge to Ridgecrest Circle 619. I reached for the microphone. Central, David 37, we're in touch and we're on our way. I've memorized the address. Damn, it's a family fight call. I didn't want that at all right now. Bart turned off the light in the cabin, and we went to the call. Almost every type of challenge becomes routine after a while, but family scandals are always unpredictable. This is one of the most dangerous situations you can get into. With very strong emotions, a small quarrel can instantly turn violent. Both sides can be aggressive, and the police are usually viewed as enemies rather than peacemakers. David 37, we've arrived, I said into the microphone, informing the dispatcher that we were in place. It was a prestigious area. There was nothing ordinary about this call. A crowd of onlookers had already begun to gather around the Wright house. As Bart and I approached the door, we heard screams. Without saying a word to each other, we both drew our weapons. Bart was smart enough to try the door before I kicked it down. We searched every room, quickly heading towards the source of the noise. Before I tell you what we've discovered, I have to say that working in the police force, you can encounter the strangest and most unimaginable situations. The truth is always stranger than fiction. And if that's the case, then what we saw was proof of those words. This, without a doubt, would be a script for a book. When we entered the master bedroom, ready to shoot, It quickly became clear that this was no ordinary call about a quarrel. There were 3 people in the room. One man was chained to a chair with a hood over his head. The other 2 froze at the sight of us. Bart gave me a wow look and froze. Police, don't move. Stop it, he barked. All 3 of them looked at us. The man started to say something, but I went up to him, ordered him to shut up, and handcuffed him. Then I covered Bart while he shackled the woman. The woman was crying and trying to cover herself with a bathrobe. The man in the chair was silent, but clearly crying. There was a real mess brewing that needed to be sorted out. The man tried to speak again, and I advised him one last time to be quiet. By this time, Bart had already covered the woman with a blanket. I went up to the bound man, took the hood off his head, and immediately saw his reddened eyes. He obviously started crying long before we arrived. I took the gag out of his mouth and asked him not to say anything yet. He nodded understandingly. Who do we start with? Will. A woman, I think. She was the one who screamed. In the meantime, call the dispatcher and tell him you won't need backup. I'll ask you a few questions. Please don't try to explain all this. Just answer my questions. Do you understand? She nodded. Good. What is your name? Marcy Schumann. Bart wrote everything down in a notebook. And the man in the chair? Mark Schumann. And the other man? He's Matt. It seems so. I looked at him. Martin, he said. So, Marcy, tell me, what in God's name are we all doing here? Well, it's quite difficult to explain. Mark had an idea related to family relationships. You're lying. Okay, stop. Let's do it differently, Bart. Keep an eye on these 2 while I listen to her side of the story. Marcy, come with me to the other room. I helped her get up. The robe fell open, but I helped her put herself in order, then shackled her again. We went to the kitchen. For some reason, it seemed to me the most appropriate place to talk. Okay, Marcy, let's try it again. Well, as I said, my husband had an idea. Wait a minute. Let's go back a bit. How did you find out about this idea of his? I found a book in his coat pocket a couple of weeks ago. There were different stories described, and in some places there were underlined passages. It was about the strange relationship between the spouses. Did it seem acceptable to you? Oh, my God, no. I decided to do this for Mark. So you didn't want to do it. I thought you liked it. Not exactly like that. I just wanted to convince Mark that I support his interests. I'm getting lost here. Why did you do that? You see, Mark works so hard for us. He gives me everything I want. I love him so much that I wanted to show that I understand him. Besides, we don't spend time together like we used to. But Marcy, Mark didn't look happy. Have you talked to him about this? No, I just did what I saw in the book. She began to understand the whole situation. So what was in the book? Well, one of the pages was bent like a bookmark. I decided that this is exactly what he likes. So I tried to reproduce what I saw. She behaved unreasonably. Marcy, are you saying that you decided to trust some story without understanding what your husband really wants? All the blood drained from her face when she realized how wrong her action had been. Oh, my God, what have I done? I decided that he was keeping quiet about his desires so as not to offend me. I just wanted Mark to be happy. God, I love him so much. Marcy, I'm going to release you from the handcuffs. I want you to make yourself a cup of strong coffee. If possible, do it for me too. I think we're all going to need this before it's over. She nodded resignedly. Back in the bedroom, I took Bart aside and told him everything. He just shook his head. I went up to the stranger and took off his handcuffs. I want you to get dressed and get out of here quickly. But I need someone to give me a ride. You don't expect me to walk back to the bar where my car is parked, do you? It's almost 10 kilometers from here. After looking at his wedding ring, I suggested. Should I take you to the police station and ask your wife to pick you up? No. I've got it all figured out, and I'll be happy to take a walk. That's what I thought. Bart was busy freeing Mark from his bonds. While the man was getting dressed, I went to get some water. He took the glass from me and gulped it down. Mark, for some reason I don't think that you really had this idea? No, of course not, damn it. Why would anyone want that for their family? Well, Mark, the world is full of strange situations. In that case, I'll tell you straight out, it's not about me. I love Marcy. Or at least he loved me until tonight. I could see that he was getting nervous. I needed to get him under control. Listen, Mark, I want you to calm down. We won't have to take you to the station, will we? Oh, my God, no. I'm going to die if this ever gets out. Good. So Marcy made a very big mistake. She understands that now. It all started with the book you brought home. Can you tell me about her? What book? I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, but she told me that she did all this for you because she loves you very much. A strange way to prove love. I agree, Mark. Let's calm down, have a coffee, and discuss everything. Bart informed the control center that we were fine and would be busy for a while. We went into the kitchen, and Marcy poured coffee for everyone. She was sitting at the table, covering her eyes with her hands and trying to stop the flow of her tears. We all sat at the table in silence. Bart asked Marcy if she still had the book. She came out of the kitchen, and we waited for her in silence. When she returned and handed the book to Bart, he handed it to me. I searched for the dog-eared page and read the highlighted passage. Mark took the book and started reading, but when he reached the middle, he couldn't continue. Tears welled up in his eyes. Mark, where did this book come from? He stared at her for a full minute before he realized. Oh, shit, I found her on the train. She was lying on the seat next to me when I came home last night. I saw that it was some kind of nonsense, and I put it in my pocket so that some child wouldn't stumble. I wanted to throw it away, but I forgot. Marcy ran out of the room in tears. Mark sat hunched over, his face in pain. We all sat in silence while he tried to come to his senses. Finally, he spoke, looking at me. Officer, this may seem crazy. I hate what she did, and at the same time, I love her for doing this for me. It doesn't make sense, but now I feel like I love Marcy more than ever before. Marcy must have heard what he said from the other room. She ran up to Mark and hugged him tightly. I looked at Bart and saw a tear running down his cheek. We got up to leave and thanked them for the coffee. Marcy walked us to the door and thanked Bart. Then she came up to me and expressed her gratitude too. Thank you for saving my marriage. Marcy, I don't want to spoil your mood, but you should see a doctor just in case. She blushed when she realized what I meant. I'll call you in the morning and make an appointment. You're such a wonderful person that I wish you were there that night. Now it was my turn to blush. As we walked out the door, Bart nudged me in the side. Hey, partner, I won't tell Donna about your new friend if you don't say a word about my tears to anyone. Agreed. I agreed, slapping him lightly on the shoulder. We went to the station to write reports before everyone started asking about this call in the afternoon. It was a good night for us. There are almost never any home calls when everyone leaves peacefully. It was a first for Bart and me. Hey, Bart, have you heard the story about the 3 old ladies sitting on a park bench? Yes, and I don't want to hear it again. The reports were submitted, and a new shift took over. I said goodbye to Bart, promising to see him in the evening. I made a couple of stops on the way home. Donna was still asleep, and I carefully climbed into bed, trying not to wake her up. I took her hand and just held it, thinking about how lucky Mark was. His wife loved him so much that she tried to do everything for him. Their problem last night was an accident. It wasn't done out of malice or dissatisfaction with Marcy. As strange as it may sound, it all happened because of love. I fell asleep with a slight smile. I woke up to Donna screaming. I instantly jumped out of bed and ran out of the bedroom. She met me in the hallway and immediately hugged me. Her face was pressed against my shoulder, and I could feel the tears running down her cheeks. I gently led her back to the bedroom, and she sat on the bed without letting go of me. Finally, she looked down at her hand, admiring the ring I'd put on her finger while she was sleeping. The tears were still flowing, but I could tell from her smile that they were tears of joy. It's so beautiful, Will. I love you so much. I love you too, Donna. But what has changed? I just realized that I'm more afraid of losing you than getting married. Just like that. I know you will. Something happened last night. Let's just say I saw what true love is capable of. The way I love you. That's right. I only pray that we never have to test our love with such trials. I don't quite understand you, but I know that I love you so much that before our wedding I want to get in shape so that I can fit into my mom's wedding dress. Well, I can handle that kind of support.